People to want to feel safe, and they would rather risk the loss of a relationship than venture into territory that they never signed up for. I'm Silver, a born clairvoyant, near-death experiencer, and spiritual pragmatist. This video is not to convince anybody of anything, it's just my experience, and it relates to anyone who's gone through change and been surprised and heartbroken afterwards. I would say the most unexpected thing about my near-death experience wasn't what I experienced. That was 1,000 miracles all at once. Because I experienced it, I was able to integrate that. But I watched the adults around me flee or go silent when they registered the change in me. Most of the people in my life were not open-minded enough to stay in curiosity and ask a question. If you've ever felt lonely after a trauma or an identity shift of some kind, this video explains the social fallout and gives you a way to handle it without feeling like you're shrinking yourself to stay accepted. Many of my friends had been through the ringer with me because I had been so sick for several years before my near-death experience. But they all ended up walking away. More than one of them actually did get honest with me and say that my experiences scared them. Because when I came out about my near-death experience, I also came out about being born a clairvoyant. Nobody knew that in my life, but that was a promise I made with that consciousness called God. I promised to come back and live transparently, which was my biggest fear come true. I prayed about it. Where I live, the way social patterns are here, this is not going to be received. And you're going to have to show me every step of the way. I read a quote, I cannot remember who said it, but it said, most friendships are an agreement to keep the surface waters calm. And that is how a lot of adults operate. Many people have become inflexible and they're really not willing to adjust to new information, their opinions that over time feel like facts. Unless you proactively stay curious and open-minded. Even Lao Tzu talks about this in the Tao. He equates death with rigidity and life with flexibility. And when we undergo changes, it can feel threatening, especially to those closest to us. And in general, we do not do well with uncertainty. It seems a lot easier in the moment to go in the direction of emotional avoidance. Change often incites responses of fear and retraction, almost as a self-protective move. And I'm not knocking that. I crave comfort and consistency. I would love to know the outcomes of things. I've always wanted stability in my life. It really speaks more to the other person's discomfort and fear of going there. People to want to feel safe, and they would rather risk the loss of a relationship than venture into territory that they never signed up for. So here are some things to help you through any transformation and the unexpected fallout with your relationships. I think we have to expect that transformation will always be difficult. We are not the greatest at handling abrupt change. There's a beautiful pathway through this where instead of doing what I did, which was like grieve for a couple of years, I could have set a boundary for myself around my heart. If I'm going to have a close relationship with someone, there at a minimum needs to be curiosity offered to the stranger experiences in my life. Another boundary is, and this is actually hardest, I think, with family. I catch myself whenever I'm almost begging and re-explaining. If I just phrase it right, I'll finally be accepted. So I don't allow myself to do that anymore. I'll have to reel it back in. The people who are going to remain standing for you after any kind of change, they're going to be emotionally mature, and they're going to be able to hold uncertainty without any kind of black or white reaction. They're going to be able to hold the gray with you. They might not understand it, but they're not closed to it. So a last word, If you are sensitive, if you're spiritual, if you are the weird one, you're not too much. You are just a certain kind of person that prompts panic around what might be unusual or unknown or uncertain. I have an entire NDE playlist on my channel. Check it out if you'd like to learn more, and I will meet you in the next one.